It's Showtime Synergy, the latest review podcast from the Geekcast Radio Network, is coming. So join TFG1Mike, Nicole Hailstorm, and myself, Lady Rec, as we will be reviewing all 65 episodes of Gem and the Holograms in a 25-episode-long podcast. You can find Showtime Synergy on iTunes and geekcastradio.com. We are the truly outrageous podcast that you want to be listening to.
And the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle GRAYSKULL. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of GRAYSKULL!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle GRAYSKULL from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Hello, this is OptimusSolo, and welcome to the 36th chapter in Tales of Eternia. With me for this journey into the Masters of the Universe franchise is TFG1Mike. Are you ready for the powers of GRAYSKULL, sir?
Uh-huh. I guess.
I like the enthusiasm. In this episode of Tales of Eternia, we'll be giving you our thoughts on episode 105, No Job Too Small, episode 106, The Bitter Rose, and episode 107, The Gambler. In other words, we are calling this episode the Kenny Rogers episode. So we hope you're ready, because it's time to go back to Eternia.
So I guess in this version we're casting Teela as Belle and Beastman as the Beast.
But where would I be without He-Man?
Well, you would still be Prince Adam. Come on, your father awaits us.
This mission to Phantos is very important. Our diplomatic relationship has been poor.
Prince Adam is going to Phantos.
If Skeletor were here, it would be a perfect opportunity.
Unfortunately, Skeletor is not here. But perhaps I...
Perhaps you what? We have strict orders to make no moves while Skeletor is...
Enough, you fool! Do you think I can do nothing without Skeletor? Ha! Think again!
No, we'll leave in the morning, Father.
Here is our chance. King Randor will pay any price for the ransom of his son and his friends.
You foolish witch. Do you think Skeletor hasn't tried such a plan? That cursed He-Man always shows up just in time.
Even He-Man can't be in more than one place at a time. Trust me, Beastman.
All right, we start today with episode 105, No Job Too Small, written by Don Heckman, air date of Monday, November 5th, 1984. And the plot goes something like this. While on a visit to planet Phantos, Teela, Man-at-Arms, and Orko are captured by Evil Lyn, Beastman, and Whiplash, working on their own accord. With Skeletor away, Evil Lyn takes the captives to Snake Mountain and uses her new Reducto Ray to shrink them down to a miniature size. He-Man is unable to get his friends without springing an elaborate trap laid by the villain, so he decides that this time he has a better chance to save them as Prince Adam instead. So as we mentioned, bad guys, we got Beastman, Evil Lyn, Whiplash. They do mention Skeletor, and we do see Panther. And then the Masters are the regular Masters. The PSA is all about being strong, is wonderful, but intelligence and imagination are just as valuable. And it's given to us by Man-at-Arms. And as far as Orko's fun facts, Phantos returns, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The only appearance of Michi, the guy that He-Man is wrestling with at the beginning of the episode, and apparently in the original script, He-Man says that he can't beat him because he's too much beef. He's too beefy, too much beef, but they changed that to muscle, too much muscle. And It's one of the rare times where we see He-Man shown turning back into Prince Adam, as far as the transformation goes. So what did you think of the plot of No Job Too Small and the whole idea of miniature characters?
They should do this more often. They should have the entire show in miniature. I thought that was hilarious. I like the plot. The plot is interesting. It's a fun episode, but it's not without its faults, because there are several things in the series, and when we get to, when we start Mists of Etheria later on in this series of podcasts that we're doing here, even they have the same issue. They do the same damn thing that they do in this one that I'll get to in my Snake Mountain moments. But I like the plot overall. It's so funny when they change the scripts when you bring this stuff up, because all I can think of is that old Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought about first thing too. And of course, guys, this episode was produced in order to sell a line of miniature action figures. No, just kidding. Of course, that's what everybody would say.
Well,
it's not. There was no miniature action figures back then in the day, but
right. But there are now, though. And honestly, I like some of the. I think some of the Motu minis are somewhat better than the classics.
Motu minis inspired by episode 105. Keep going though with your thought.
I really thought this was. I remember in episode 35 in the closing, I was like, when I was reading off the episodes in the outro, I'm like, No Job Too Small. Oh, great. The widgets are back. And this surprisingly had nothing to do with the widgets.
Wait for a couple episodes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I like the idea of the actual characters being shrunken down. I like that the elaborate trap setup that they have. And I think my favorite part about the plot is that it's Evil Warriors minus Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Evil Lynn is taking charge and she's running the roost while Skeletor is away on business. So I thought there were some interesting elements to this plot, stuff that we haven't necessarily seen over and over again. I mean, we don't always see Skeletor away and the Evil Warriors doing something. We haven't seen a whole bunch of episodes where they're all miniature sized. And we have seen episodes where it takes Adam instead of He-Man, but not so much where it feels like it's the same thing over and over again yet.
Right.
So definitely some good elements for the plot, and I guess we'll have to wait until we get to Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain to see how they were executed, but I think the elements for a good plot were definitely there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get to Castle Grayskull so we can see how exactly they executed the plot that we feel has potential.
Now we have them. Follow them down and hover behind the crest of those mountains.
Skeletor is not going to like this.
Skeletor is not here!
Come on, let's take a look outside.
Now, Beastman, we must move in very carefully.
All right, for the first time today, we're at Castle Grayskull talking about our favorite parts of No Job Too Small. Mike, why don't you go first?
Transformation in space. That looks cool.
He-Man in space. Oh, wait, that comes later.
Adam does have a really interesting plan on how to free them, because it's a whole, counterweight and countermeasure and doing math, and even though math is evil, it is a very interesting plan that he does have. Hey, look, it's Penthor. Yay! But there's no Battle Cat to fight him. Damn. And then Mini Panthor is awesome.
I'm stealing my notes.
I already got the image. There'll be an image of the post of Adam actually holding Mini Panthor in like his pinky, or not his pinky, his index finger and his thumb. It's just hilarious. What about you?
Like I said previously, I really like the idea of Skeletor being quote-unquote gone, and the Evil Warriors being left at Snake Mountain to figure things out without him, and that they even kind of mention that he's away on business or whatever they say. So I kind of like that they acknowledge that, and I like the setup with Evil Lynn kind of running things. I like the return reference to Phantos. So anything that lends to any type of continuity is always good. Evelyn is great in this episode. I especially like the dialogue she's given here. I think this was a great episode for Evelyn. And then I have, like you, Panther with an exclamation point in my notes. And then 2 lines down later, I have Mini Panther with exclamation points. How about this? For once, it's something that won't end up in Snake Mountain when it usually does. For once, Orko realizes he can float down from the imprisonment.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I can just float down.
Yeah.
Why didn't you realize this 105 episodes ago?
Yeah.
I loved Evelyn at the end with her head in her hands and Beastman pounding on the glass. Thought that was kind of humorous, and I like how Adam was needed in this episode. Like I said, it's not the first time we've seen it, but I kind of like how it was used and how he had to kind of use his smarts, and it wasn't all about just muscle in this episode. It wasn't all about the beef. So even though it was at the beginning of the episode in that wrestling match. So yeah, some good things, some good execution, some funny moments, some good dialogue. Lots of. Go ahead.
I love this was 85, right?
Well, if you paid attention during the air date, it was
84,
November 5th,
85.
1984.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so we are 3 years before humans would be turned into a warthog and a rhino. And I swear to God, the mini rhino in this episode that they put Panther in next to in the cage looks just like the rhino that they end up using for Rocksteady and TMNT.
Nice. Yeah, I forgot about the little rhino.
Yep.
All right, well, let's make our way then to Snake Mountain to see if there was anything negative about this episode.
Hey, Adam, gently.
I found the release. We'll have to take a chance that opening the door won't turn on the reducto right. Whew, so far, so good.
Now what? I mean, I'm okay because I can float down from here, but what about you guys?
I got an idea.
Adam, be careful.
Okay, I'll brace the line here. Now slide down one at a time, very carefully.
All right, you first.
No, Father. You're the one with the twisted ankle. You go first. Okay, Orko. Time for you to float and me to slide.
Let's go!
We're doing okay. Now wait here. I think I've got it reset. Stand together in the circle. Now try to aim it without releasing the boulder.
It worked!
Through the door, quickly, before they hear us. I'll catch up. If I have this timed right... Uh-oh. Noisy little thing, aren't you?
Panther! What's going on in there?
Sounds like it's time for He-Man. But first you'll be okay here. By the power of Grayskull!
All right, it's time for our Snake Mountain moments for episode 105. No job too small. I'll start us off here. Why did Adam separate from the group? Did he know they were about to be in danger and not warn them? Because literally he separates from the group before any danger happens so that he can be away and in a place where he can turn into He-Man and help them out. But, number one, he should not have known that they were in danger. And if he did know they were in danger, then wouldn't he have just warned them before they got into danger? I was confused as to why he separated himself from the group. They didn't really explain that.
Yeah.
This rope left randomly on the floor may come in handy. Gotta love it when some props are just left randomly in places they probably wouldn't be. And who all is at that party?
I don't know.
They're like, oh, we're partying up in this other room while Skeletor's gone, and like the only 3 people that we have seen in the episode go in there, and it literally sounds like there's 50 people in that room in Snake Mountain. So it must have been everybody that we've ever seen as far as the bad guy was in that party room. Panther would have seen Adam.
Yeah.
Animals are very good at seeing small bug-like creatures. So even though Adam was shrunken down, a panther or a cat would not have missed that.
No.
They would have seen that no matter what.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about how that the time ray, or the ray, why it took so long.
Mm-hmm.
Only that time. Every other time it was much quicker, but the one time where we needed it to be longer so that Adam could do this, that, and the other, it all of a sudden took a long time. Very risky transformation there. He transformed and could have easily been spotted. We point that out almost every time it happens.
Right.
And how are they going to explain the evil warriors regaining their size?
Yeah, that's true.
Because he shrinks them down and then he destroys the ray that's supposed to be able to reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently those evil warriors should just be small now for the rest of the series.
Yeah, but they won't be.
No. And then the one other thing, the rock is going to fall and hit the ray. He-Man stops the rock and then uses the rock to destroy the ray.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why didn't he just let it destroy it on its own? Why did he have to stop it and then destroy it with it? That made no sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
How about you?
An adventure in space, huh? Then where are their bloody helmets?
We don't need no helmets in Eternian space.
Space is a giant void where you cannot breathe. No. Outer space. No. You cannot do that because space in general, outer space, anywhere, you have to have something protecting you because it is so cold and so dark and so void and whatever. It always pisses me off when they don't figure out some way to have them use a goddamn helmet when they're in space. Why the hell would the villains just party after they should be on guard?
Skeletor's not there to keep them in line. It's like when the teacher leaves the classroom.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right, not too much from you then. So that means we might be up for some good awards and rankings. We'll have to see. Let's get to the next section to see how we actually grade this episode.
Hurry, Skeletor, hurry!
I am hurrying. I'm hurrying.
All right, it's awards and rankings time for episode 105. No job, too small. Do you have any hardware to give out, sir?
Nope.
No hardware for him, so I will make up for it. I will give a power sword to Prince Adam for his ability to solve the problem without He-Man. And I will give a power sword to Evil Lyn because I thought Evil Lyn was excellent in this episode. Funny, good dialogue, good character. So I really liked Evil Lyn. So those are my 2 power swords to make up for the 0 that Mike's giving out.
Well, now that I think about it, it's Yeah. Just for showing up, Panther gets a power sword.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
Hey, come on now.
And as far as how many cringers or battle cats you're giving out?
Orcos.
Oh, yeah, you do it weird.
No, you do it weird. I mean, technically, I could switch. And I could just say I'm going to give it 3 Panthers.
Oh, man. So 3?
No, I like the episode. I think it's a good episode, but it's not like mind-blowingly awesome.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly. I'm not saying it's mind-blowingly awesome, but I liked it more than you. I thought it was cool having some references to prior stuff with the Phantos stuff. Thought it was neat having Skeletor away. I thought Evil Lyn was good in the episode. I like the miniature things. Panther shows up. Good to see all kinds of fun stuff. So I give this one a 4 Battle Cats out of 5. So I'm a little bit more pleased with this episode than you, possibly. But that could change as we make our way to the next episode. So let's get on to episode 106, The Bitter Rose, next.
It is with great pride and special pleasure that I present you with... All right, Orko, now.
Why, it's very beautiful, Duncan. Thank you. Please tell us about it.
Well, the picture is that of the legendary Bitter Rose. It's said that the rose was formed by the tears of a goddess. Every day she climbed Rose Mountain to look for her husband to return from the war. But alas, he never came back. Her tears poured from her cheek and entered the ground. One day she disappeared, but where she stood was a single solitary rose. It's the only thing that grows on Rose Mountain.
It's a wonderful gift.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Driel, what's wrong? I can't help crying. It's also so beautiful. The tapestry, the legend. Oh, it's really nice to be given something so special.
Next up is episode 106, The Bitter Rose, written by Michael Chase Walker. Air date of Tuesday, November 6, 1984. When Orko plucks the fabled bitter rose as a gift for Driel, Rose Mountain starts to crumble and threatens to destroy the village of the insect people. Not aware of its power, Skeletor now would also like to want to get his hands on the bitter rose to use the power that he now knows it possesses. Bad guys, we have Beastman, Trapjaw, and Skeletor. Masters, we got our regulars, King and Queen, making an appearance. PSA is Orko not listening to his conscience. When in doubt, listen to your conscience, and that's given to us by Man-at-Arms. What did you think about the bitter rose, the mountain crumbling, the insect people, Orko and Driel? What do you got?
I like it. I think it's a good episode. I was half waiting for Teela to become Belle and Beastman to become the Beast, but still. I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It's nice seeing Orko and Driel outside of having to save Trala, because that just seems to be what, when those two characters get together, it seems like that's all they're doing. They're either saving Eternia or saving Trala. So, I mean, okay, sure, in this one they are saving Eternia because of the mountain, whatever else, but it's nice to see them in some sort of love story kind of thing instead of just bringing along a kid's sidekick in her brother or whatever the hell.
Yeah. And I mean, we do have some continuity here again with Driel reappearing with the insect people, the Garth and whoever showing up again. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I thought this is somewhat of a complex episode. I mean, it seems simple as far as, hey, there's this rose and Orko plucks it for Driel and it causes some problems, but it's a little more complex than that. It's actually probably one of our more detailed and complex episodes that we've had in a while. And I'll get to why I think that a little bit later, but I think it's a relatively simple plot that in this execution becomes a little more detailed, and there's a few more layers that you're not expecting to come about. So I actually dug this episode.
Same here.
All right, let's get to Castle Grayskull then.
Let's get going to lunch.
I wish I could give her something as beautiful as that rose.
There is nothing more beautiful than the bitter rose. It's perfect.
Cringer, you got it.
I have?
It's perfect, the perfect gift. See you later.
I don't get it. Or do I? Oh, no!
All right, it's time for the Castle Grayskull moments for the bitter rose. Sir, what do you have?
Orko's heart was in the right place, but his head sure wasn't. Pulling that rose.
As happens when you're in love.
I don't know why I wrote this down, but I wrote down, LOL, Cringer, what do you know about the rose? Because Cringer makes some sort of comment to Orko about the rose.
Can we say that Orko was thinking with his wand and not his mind?
Depends on what kind of wand he has.
Dun-dun-dun.
And then they start using baseball puns. That's awesome.
Oh my.
They did. You didn't hear that? You didn't notice that?
I must have missed that.
Yeah, they start using baseball puns. Beastman is... he's not a comical character at all. A flower and a flower vase. He says vase. It's vase, goddammit.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're talking about it in our Castle Grayskull moments.
Yeah. What about you?
I enjoyed that the insect people made a reappearance. As everybody can tell now, anytime a character reappears in a series, it's usually a good thing for me. Even if it's executed bad, I appreciate them at least acknowledging that these characters existed. Also, Driel returning. Loved the reference of Trap John Beastman thinking Skeletor thought he heard them mumbling, not rumbling. So it was just kind of a very humorous nod to the fact that a lot of times these evil warriors are plotting against Skeletor or on their own or this, that, and the other. So the guilty conscience, I guess, came out. I thought that was very clever. Something that kids probably wouldn't have gotten. But as an adult, I thought that was funny. I like Duncan inventing something that isn't a weapon.
Yep.
So it's good that he was inventing something that had some other type of practical use.
I
actually thought Beastman was funny with the frozen Orko and the flower vase. Vase. I thought it was clever that they actually said Mother Eternia instead of Mother Earth. So
thank God they got it right for once.
Cool. There was some cool shots. There's a cool shot of Orko flying straight on towards the camera. They don't usually do that, but he's coming basically straight on towards the camera, and the background's moving behind him. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cool, and they also did something similar with the evil warriors in their flying machine. I forget what the name of that thing was, but that was an actual toy, right?
Yeah.
It was a cool vehicle that they were in. It was like a circle that kind of spun around.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, yes.
So that was cool. I like the shots of them flying in that because I don't think we'd seen that up until this point in the series.
Right.
Like I said, I think there's a decent story here, some backstory behind it, as far as how the bitter rose had an effect on the mountain and how when they plucked it, it was basically representing an actual person who had become bitter. And it was them choosing her that kind of set things different, and she kind of basically reinvigorates the whole Rose Mountain. I thought that was kind of cool. I know a lot of people probably thought it would think it was cheesy, but I like that extra layer here. And I love the ending with the fake flower and Trapjaw painting it to try to give it to Skeletor. That was hilarious. It's a classic. We've lost your pet or we've lost your thing, and we're going to try to replace it, and you won't know the difference, which never works.
Never works at all. Nope.
All right, well, let's make our way to Snake Mountain then and see if there's any negative parts about the Bitter Rose.
This is a puzzle! Confound it! I must find out the source of this infernal rumbling!
We weren't mumbling, Skeletor.
Not mumbling, you meatheads! Rumbling! Rumbling! Wait! Rose Mountain seems to be collapsing. Another piece of the puzzle. Garth is searching for something, but what is he looking for? And now another clue. That little menace, Orko. But what's that he's holding?
It looks like a flower to me, boss.
It is a flower. That's the bitter rose. No wonder the mountain's crumbling, and I thought it was just superstition. What a foolish thing you've done, Orko. But I like it. Looks like it's moving time for the insect people. Quick, you two, get out there.
You want us to help them move?
No, you don't. I want that rose before Garth gets it. Bring it to me, and do not fail.
All right, as far as Snake Mountain moments for the Bitter Rose, they don't really explain how or why Driel is in this episode or how she is on Eternia. So they kind of skip over that, and she's just here with Orko, apparently on a visit. Every other time we've had some type of explanation, so that's kind of weird. A little heavy on the foreshadowing with the maturation machine, that they're like, oh, wouldn't want to use this on a one-of-a-kind original. That was a little heavy. Why did it focus on Battle Cat's foot being stuck in that one scene?
I don't know.
They focused on his foot being somewhat into the mountain, and then they never did anything with that.
No, they didn't.
And I think the travel times are an issue in this episode, because it seems
travel times are an issue in this entire series.
It seems like it's taken forever for them to get to a certain point, and then they're like, "Oh, we need to go back to my workshop, and then we'll meet you over here." Like it's just gonna be like some type of quick trip. Which, honestly, if they would have had to go that far, and it would have taken as long as it did to get back there as it did to where they got to that point, we would have had some issues. So there's definitely some time issues in this episode. What about you?
Somebody grab the time wheel so we don't have time issues. I really enjoyed this one overall. there weren't too many things that made me, scream out loud or just stop the episode and sit here and write a whole diatribe on what I don't like about it. The one thing I put down for... shut up.
Okay.
The one thing I did put down for Snake Mountain moments is something you absolutely enjoy every time this happens. True love saves everything. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that to a point. I usually don't like that, but it's somewhat explained in this episode too, where it didn't drive me nuts. Like, yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but like if this was the only time it happened, it would be okay. If this would happen like episode after episode after episode, back to back with some of those other ones that it did, then it would have been a bigger issue.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Anything else?
Honestly, no. I really did enjoy this one. I thought it was a really good one.
Well, let's see how much you actually did enjoy this episode as we get to our ranking section.
Thanks a lot. You saved me.
You can thank me later. We have to get that Rose back to the mountain to stop the avalanche.
The avalanche? The Rose? You mean the Rose had something to do with it? Oh, gosh. How did that happen?
Our legend tells us the Rose is all that holds the mountain together.
We can't let them get away. Yes. Oh, we'll be in real trouble with you-know-who.
All right, it's awards and rankings time. I will go first for the Bitter Rose because I don't have anything to give out, just like Mike last episode. So, Mike, do you have anything to say?
Wait a second. I gave one to Panther.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Do you have anything for this one?
I'm going to give one to...
Like you had this planned out beforehand?
Shut up. I'm going to give one to Cringer because it's every episode he has some sort of funny line, and I love how they're using him more and more every time. Like, it's one thing I've noticed in the last 10 or 15 episodes that we've done. Almost every time we go to a transformation, he has something before or during the transformation to say about the transformation, about becoming Battle Cat. So I'll give one to Cringer.
All right. I guess that works. So that's the only hardware we're giving out for the Bitter Rose as far as rankings. You are 3 with No Job Too Small. What are you at for Bitter Rose?
4.
All right. We're in a complete agreement. I give a 4 to the last one. I give a 4 to this one. I thought we had 2 pretty solid episodes in a row. Nothing mind-blowing, like you said, but nothing bad. They're both above average episodes, so I am in complete agreement. We will both give this one 4 out of 5. So let's see how we end today as we get to the next episode, episode 107, The Gambler.
Money isn't everything.
Except for when it is.
Guess which sphere contains the apple, and it's yours.
That's easy.
So it looks, my lady. But I am so sure you'll get it wrong that I'll make it more interesting for you.
An apple and a diamond? Wow!
Games are easy, but a diamond, ladies and gentlemen, you will have to work for.
I think it's the left one. What do you think, Orko?
Oh, no. It's the one on the right. I understand these magic tricks. I think.
All right, then. Right it is.
Uh-oh. I guess it was the left one.
Your turn, Smudge.
It's the middle one.
Congratulations, young sir. You have a keen eye.
Of course he does. That's why Smudge is chief guard at the Cordite reactor.
Is that so?
Oh, no! The emergency signal!
Alert! Alert! Mine shaft number 3 has collapsed. Rockfall in mine number 3.
Well, that's where we get Cordite from.
Come on, Father. The widgets may need help.
We better tag along, just in case He-Man is needed.
Wait, Smudge. Give me a chance to win my diamond back. I'll bet this diamond that you cannot pick the right sphere again.
But there's trouble! I have to, listen, would you really bet this big diamond against this small one?
That's the deal.
All right, next up is episode 107, The Gambler, written by Anthony Zalewski. Air date Wednesday, November 7th, 1984. Melbrag the Gambler tricks Smudge the Widget into giving him some precious cordite, then uses it to weaken and capture He-Man for Skeletor as a prize. For our masters, we have our regulars with an appearance by the King, And for bad guys, Skeletor is mentioned, although we never see him, but we do see a little guy by the name of Spikor.
It's his only appearance, right?
I don't know if we're going to see him the rest of the way or not, but this is at least the first time we've seen him. And the PSA is about respecting other people's property and not trying to gamble away something that doesn't belong to you. What do you think about Melbreg, the gambler, the Cordite, and all this in this episode with the widgets? Mike, you were afraid you were going to see the widgets earlier. Now you get to see them. Were you upset or happy, or how did you feel? Tell me how you felt.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, folks, with episode 37 of Tales of Eternia.
Shut up.
This episode is horribly boring.
Horribly boring.
Horribly boring. The only Castle Grayskull moment I have is nice actually finally getting to see Spikor.
Okay.
The rest of it, they introduce us to this new widget called Smudge. Why, not Snarlag. What the hell is the other kid's name? Fuck.
Snarlag.
No, crap. The whiny Prince Adam widget. What the hell is his name?
Oh, Snitch or Stitch or...
Whatever the hell. The one we normally always see.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Why couldn't it just be him doing this instead of introducing us to a new widget that we'll probably never ever see again unless he's just in the background? This episode just felt useless to me.
Maybe you feel useless. Do you ever think of that?
No. It's the episode. It's the episode.
So you like the episode overall?
No, I hate the episode overall.
I don't know. I wasn't as negative as you, maybe on the plot issue. We've seen like different circuses and road shows and this, that, and the other. So like there's this magic trick guy here. You know, I thought that was somewhat interesting. I thought the whole idea of gambling could be an interesting plot. But I'm not a huge fan of the widget. I'm not a huge fan of that going on with the Cordite and the widgets and whatever. So.
Yeah, it's just lame.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to write off the whole episode just because of the widgets. I was going to try to give it a chance to see how it went. But I don't know. I thought if they did it right, maybe it would work. But we'll have to see if they actually did it right. So let's make our way to Castle Grayskull and start talking about all the things you loved about this episode.
Nothing.
There, that seems to have hit the spot. Now, let's find Melbreg. Ah, that must be Skeletor's man now.
You are Melbreg?
Yes, who are you?
I am called Spikor, greatest of evil warriors, servant to Skeletor. You have brought the Cordite.
It's here, and I have something else Skeletor might wish to buy, namely He-Man.
We have arrived at Castle Grayskull for the last time today to talk about all the things Mike loves about the gambler. Mike, go ahead.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
It was nice seeing Spikor. That's it.
All right. You had one thing then, not nothing. We haven't had many episodes that featured or even showed the animal or the insect life of Eternia. So right. I liked the inclusion of the timber bugs and showing those guys. I thought that was interesting to see that there actually is insects here on Eternia. I thought it was interesting to watch Orko running from the transformation sequence. I like the idea of showing the negative sides of gambling to kids, even though you might think that's too much of a mature topic for kids to be subjected to. I think it's actually a good thing to show them that, you know, gambling can lead you up a creek and without a paddle and all that stuff. Spikor, as you said, that was cool to see him. I have some problems with him, but I did enjoy actually seeing a new evil warrior since we haven't been able to do that for a long time.
Your issues with Spikor cannot be as many as the issues I always have with Whiplash showing up every single episode.
No, I don't have a problem with people showing up. I have a problem with maybe some other things. I like that at the end, Melbreg says, we're going to do what any evil genius would do. Run for it. And I thought it was cool that the explosion, the reactor came back into contact with Melbreg even though he was running away. And I like that Cruncher slept through the whole episode, basically. Smart kitty. So yeah, I thought that was cool. So there was more than nothing as far as good parts of the episode. There were some good things, but maybe the bad possibly outweighed the good. So let's see exactly how many Snake Mountain moments Mr. TFG1Mike has next.
We ready to go, Chief?
Out of my way. He-Man's coming.
He-Man!
This ray is our only hope.
There he is, He-Man!
Surrender, Melbrag. It's all over.
I wouldn't bet on that, He-Man.
The ray! It's weakening me. I can hardly stand.
I used some of the cordite I got from that silly widget to power this ray. Even you can't stand up to it.
Hang on, He-Man! I'll save you! Let me go! Let me go!
And who's gonna save you, Shrimp?
Hey, you caused me a lot of trouble, He-Man. But that's over. Soon you'll be in the hands of Skeletor, and I will be a rich man.
All right, Snake Mountain moments. I'll go first because I feel like I have less than Mike. Melbrag, really, that's the name we came up for this guy. It's obviously just the letters and gambler mixed up. I thought that was kind of lame. My only problem with Spikor is the voice again and the speech pattern. I get that they're trying to do something different so he doesn't just sound like some of the other people voiced by the same individual, but it kind of drove me nuts a little bit. And I have a big problem with the ending with He-Man throwing that first picking up that whole reactor thing. I mean, I thought it was cool how he was like, "Oh, I'm going to have to use every ounce of strength or whatever." But I thought that moment could have been used in a different episode in a better way, like when he was really in some type of peril where he really had to use every ounce of his energy and strength. I liked how they did that, but him picking up the reactor and throwing it into space. First of all, if it takes that much energy just to pick something up, you're not throwing it anywhere, much less into space.
Well, we've seen him do this before. There was that
the solve all, throw everything into space. It'll have no effect on us.
Well, we've seen him do that before because there was that one time in season 1 when he threw the staff into outer space, and you're like, "Oh no, he didn't. He just threw it across the planet." And I had to go back and show you the staff in space. I forget what staff it was.
I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, it did happen. Let's face it, He-Man and the science of being able to do stuff is non-existent.
I understand being strong and being able to lift things that normally people can't lift or break things that normally can't break, but throwing a huge ass reactor into outer space, let's get real, people. Anything else, sir?
Overall, it was a boring episode. Smudge is the worst widget ever. I hope we never see him again. And guess what? The gambler actually works for Skeletor. Oh, give me a friggin' break. You know I specifically have complained about using one-off villains that have nothing to do with Evil Warriors, but it's even worse when at the end of the episode it is revealed that, "Oh yeah, I'm working for Skeletor." When Skeletor wasn't even in the episode. Like, he wasn't predominantly in the episode.
Yeah, just mentioned.
Yeah, pisses me off.
All right, so we know Mike liked this episode, so let's get to the awards and rankings so we can see exactly how high he rated this.
Low.
All right, Widget, that's it. You're gonna get it now. Whoa! Keep shaking. We almost got it.
Excuse me, but I believe these belong to you.
Thanks. Oh no.
Hey, why'd you... Yay!
Jump, Smudge.
Be right there, He-Man! You've got your strength back!
Yes.
It's time for awards and rankings for episode 107. Power Swords or Havoc Staffs? I have a feeling I know where you're going with this one, but let me know anyway.
Havoc Staff to the writer, Havoc Staff to the gambler, Havoc Staff to the entire episode itself. Oh my god. It's just horrible.
Let's not get over exaggerated and carried away here.
so horrible.
It's not that
I mean,
horrible.
It is horrible.
It's not nearly one of the worst episodes we've ever had.
No, I will agree. And my rating will reflect that. I'm not going to give this a straight 0 because it's not that bad, but it's pretty bad.
Even a 1 would be exaggerating here. I'll give mine first. I'll give this a 3 out of 5. It's just kind of an average episode. It's not bad. It's not good. Just kind of there. There's some good things about it with Spike-Core being there. I like the idea of gambling being in an episode. And there's some bad stuff as far as He-Man being able to throw stuff around and this, that, and the other. But it's not terrible. So I'm going to go right in the middle with a 3. How about you?
1.5.
All right. I think it's a little low, but
1.5. Okay. No. No Job Too Small. That's a middle ground episode.
That was a good episode.
It was a good episode, but
4 out of 5.
Yes, we know. Thank you. What I'm saying is, for me was a middle ground episode. Hence why I gave it a 3 out of 5. Compared that to this, that should get a fucking 5 compared to this episode, because this episode is just so not middle of the road. This episode is bad. Very, very bad.
Middle of the road.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, Toon Master Tim will agree with me and disagree with you.
No, he won't. Tim, if you agree with him, I will disown you.
He agrees with me on everything, which is why he's my favorite fan of the Powers of Grayskull series so far.
Shut up. Hell, he's our only fan. No one else comments or leaves us iTunes reviews.
We've had a few other ones. We've had a few other people. Don't count them out. They just agree with me so much that they don't feel the need to post anything about it.
Outside of Toon Master Tim and Royal Sorceress, those are our only. Those are our He-Man and She-Ra fans of the show. Everybody else never says a damn thing.
That's okay. They're silent partners.
Right.
They're silent fans, and in their silence, they also agree with me.
No, not at all.
People, speak up so he can see the truth. We're going to get at least one more person that you've never heard from before that's going to post on this episode just to let you know that they agree with me.
Right. You're wrong.
It's going to happen.
We're going to get to some ads and some PSAs and all the other happy He-Man crap, and we'll be back with the closing after this.
Don't leave me hanging here, guys. Post.
He's going to be hanging off a cliff, ladies and gentlemen, because he's wrong. He is always wrong.
Being strong and powerful is wonderful, but you know what? There are some things even more wonderful. Things like imagination and intelligence. In today's story, it wasn't He-Man's muscle that saved us. It was more Adam's clever mind and quick thinking. Exercising so you can be as strong as possible is a good idea. But exercising your mind, like reading books and, doing your homework, that's also a very good idea. Think it over. Today, Orko nearly made a terrible mistake by not listening to that small voice in all of us that tells us right from wrong, our conscience. When Orko decided to impress Driel, he suspected that he might be doing something wrong. Whenever you're in doubt about what you should or shouldn't do, stop for a moment and listen to your conscience. It'll usually tell you what's right or wrong. But just in case you're still not sure, talk it over with your family or someone else who cares about you. See you soon.
You know, a big part of growing up is learning to respect other people's property. When Smudge lost all his money gambling, he gambled with someone else's property, and that's when things went from bad to worse. If you want to use something that belongs to someone else, ask their permission. Well, if you don't, you may get more than you bargained for. Right, Orko?
Well, right you are.
All right, we are back here in Tales of Eternia, episode 36. Do we have any thoughts so far since last year?
Since last year?
Oh, yeah, since this episode goes up in 2015.
Oh, we're traveling time. Hey, well, I mean, we're at the point where we only have 23 episodes left.
Yep.
So that's only about, if my math is correct, about 8 or 9 episodes here of the actual podcast. So, yeah, just over 20 episodes left. I've been relatively happy in the second half so far of Season 2. I've only given one episode a bad rating. The Greatest Show on Eternia, I gave a 1. Otherwise, I've been 3 or above on everything, including 5 that were 4 and above. So, I mean, I've been relatively happy with where we're going. Obviously, I've already made most of my things known throughout the time of doing this of what I would like to see in the remaining episodes, and obviously we're running out of time for any of that stuff to happen. So if it happens, I'll be happy and surprised and shocked, and if it doesn't, it's kind of what I expect. So we'll see how this whole series winds down here as we get through the final 23 episodes.
Yeah, for me, there's no saving this show at this point. We've had a lot of great episodes. We've had a lot of middle-of-the-road episodes. We've had a lot of bad episodes. But there is no more room for growth at this point. With only 23 cartoons left, and 8 podcasts left to do in this part of Powers of Grayskull series, they're not all of a sudden going to build all the character development in the last 23
I'm just
episodes.
looking for some new characters, some evil warriors or something.
Yeah, something. All right. Thank you for listening to the Tales of Eternia. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on this and all of our other episode posts. Send email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. Follow us on Twitter @GeekCastRadio is the main Twitter. Mine is TFG1Mike. What is your Twitter?
Mine is OptimusSolo, and you should follow it so that you can tell me, and then you can tag Mike on him being wrong.
No. I'm right, you're wrong. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to
5
Facebook.com.
years, that's never been true.
Oh, yes, it has. Come on now.
Continue.
You better go back and do the math on that, goddammit.
We're going to go back through and check every single time we've had an argument in 5 years.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. And sometimes Skeletor will pick up. We hope you enjoyed the tales today, and don't forget to join us in our next adventure when we will be continuing Season 2, discussing episodes 108, 109, and 110. Those being Tila's Triumph, Orko's New Friend, and we finally discover everything with the problem with power. Best episode of the entire series. It should have been the series finale. For now, I am TFG1Mike with...
I haven't seen the episode, so I'll judge it when you hear me next time. So this is OptimusSolo, not jumping ahead.
I didn't jump ahead. I just remember the goddamn episode.
All right, well, let's see if it's still the same greatness as you remember it.
Oh, yes, it is.
Watch it first.
By the power of Grayskull, you all have the power.